watching MCTV, Millbrae Community Television.
Well, good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Joe Teresi, and it's an honor and a privilege for me to be your Master of Ceremonies this evening for the 2017 Millbrae Man, Woman, and Student of the Year Awards. Yay! So I have a pretty low bar for myself this evening. My measure of success is if I'm going to be able to get through the evening without really botching someone's name horribly. And it's my goal to get everyone out of the room before all the ladies' gowns start turning into rags and the cars start turning into pumpkins. So if I can meet those two criteria, I will consider the evening a success. First, maybe a little bit of housekeeping. If anyone needs to use the restroom is out the doors and on this side of the room. And now, all together, we're going to all reach into our pockets, and we're going to take our little cell phones out, and we're going to either turn them off or return them to vibrate. Because none of you wants to be the person that everyone turns around and stares at when the phone goes off in the middle of a speech or something. So please take a moment to silence your phones, and that way you won't have to embarrass yourself later. So as I look around the room tonight, I see so many really dedicated and well-deserving volunteers of our community of Millbrae. It's very inspiring to see you all here tonight in this room. This is the 45th annual event that we've held to honor outstanding Millbrae volunteers. And this year, we're very proud to be adding an award for the Student of the Year. This is the first time that we've done that. And the event planning committee decided to do this for several reasons. First of all, although we recognize that young people, aren't going to have the volunteer resume of someone older just because of their age, we think it's really important that we acknowledge and celebrate the fact that there are many youth in our community who do really outstanding volunteer activities that affect and benefit us all. And we think they deserve to be recognized and celebrated just as our traditional honorees do. In addition, we hope that by honoring these youth for their volunteer efforts, that we kind of teach them that volunteering is not just something you do when you're in school, but you can really make it a lifetime effort and make it a part of who you are. So we hope that by recognizing some of our young people, that we inspire them to continue their volunteering into their adult lives. And lastly, we're also pleased to see that the fact that we've decided to honor a youth, we've got a few more younger people here in the audience, which is a good thing, right? And we hope that the young people, when they see the extraordinary volunteer efforts of some of our Man and Woman of the Year, that they will truly be inspired and see that volunteering can be an important part of their life forever. So again, we're here to celebrate the 45th annual event. So quickly doing the math, that means that there are 88 people, 44 men and 44 women that have been honored over the years. And this year, we are proud to add to that legacy of 88 people our 2017 Millbrae Student of the Year, Pauline Yang. Our Millbrae Woman of the Year, Debbie Van Wart. And our Millbrae Man of the Year, Dino de Ranieri. Oh, look at that. Yeah, these folks are just wonderful people, and we're going to spend the evening hearing about all the wonderful things that they've done, and just it's our chance to say thank you to them and let them have their moment in the spotlight, which is well deserved for all the many things that they've done for the benefit of Millbrae and its citizens. Now I'd like to just pause briefly because once again this year we've lost a number of those 88 members of the fraternity and sorority of men and women of the year. So I'd like you to join with me in a moment of silence in remembrance of 4 extraordinary former honorees who passed from this life during the past year. And they are Blossom Baker, Woman of the Year, 1981. Kay Runkle, Woman of the Year, 1990. John Bowers, Man of the Year, 1994. And Lois Way, Woman of the Year in 2012. So please join me now in a moment of silence for these 4 wonderful people. Thank you. Our deepest condolences to their family and friends, and they'll always be in our hearts. At this time, we're going to be having dinner soon, but before we do that, I would like to invite Associate Pastor Joe Glynn from St. Dunstan's Parish to come up and give the invocation for this evening.
Good evening, everybody. As Joe was talking, I couldn't help but remember somebody else who was a big part of our Millbrae community, and that is Paul van Eiderstein, who died in April this year. 18 years on the city council and 4 times as mayor, so we also remember him. And this evening we gather as friends, leaders, volunteers, and companions in the journey of life in our Millbrae community. We're grateful for so many things. We give thanks for the many pathways that brought us here, for the food and encouragement that sustained us, friendships we made on that journey, for the leadership and dedication of our civic leaders. We're grateful for all the people, known and unknown to us, who work tirelessly in our city. And we're especially grateful to you, Dino, Debbie, and Pauline, for your service and commitment to our community. You are true examples of what make Millbrae a place we call our home. May each day's work, whether it be in business, City Hall, or in our voluntary activities, contribute in some positive way to the legacy we will leave to those who come after us. As we honor our recipients, we say thank you again. We applaud you. We appreciate all your great efforts on behalf of our city. And as citizens of Millbrae, we're all called to work generously and enthusiastically for the good of Millbrae. For this and all the good thoughts we hold in our hearts, we say, Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Father. At this time, before we start dinner, I would like to invite our planning committee member, Frank Saboti, up to the podium. He's going to make a special presentation to a very extraordinary 5th grader in our Millbrae community.
I want you to meet a really unique young man. When we offered to have a Student of the Year, we had no idea what to expect, and what we did not expect was to have a range from a 21 junior at Cal Berkeley to a 5th grader at our elementary school. The committee found Drew's application most unique and recommended, the judges found it most unique and recommended to the committee that a special recognition be given to him, and the committee agreed. Drew, as a 5th grader, saw an opportunity for his fellow students to learn critical thinking, judgment, as well as game playing, and he introduced a regular game of chess. That sounds pretty simple, but then as more and more students came, they need more and more chess sets. And so he scoured, with the help of some adults, scoured the community and got chess sets donated, and a few adults to come in and help teach. And so for the entire year, they had chess thanks to Drew. Later in the year, last year, many of you know, there was an accident in front of Meadows that a student was struck by an automobile. It's true they have a crossing guard, but the crossing guard is at one corner, and this happened at another corner. So Drew, on his own initiative, got 2 large coffee cans, got several sticks, attached blue flags to them, and then put them out by the sidewalk at the crossing. Pick up a stick, wave the flag as you go across, put the stick in the can on the other side. Amazingly simple, highly effective. Every morning, he got there early, got the cans from the office and put them out. After school, he stayed late, got the cans and took them back to the office. The nice thing is, he has a sister who's still at the school who gets to do it now. In any case, it's this innovative spirit that we wish to recognize. Many of us join organizations and just go with the flow and do nice things for our community. But rarely do any of us take time to see a need and leap in and find successful solutions. So it is with great pleasure that we honor Drew tonight for not only his service, but his innovation in helping our community.
Wow, it's a great story. So with that inspiration, let's move on and enjoy our dinner. We'll be back in a little bit with the rest of the program. Please enjoy your company and visiting with folks, and enjoy dinner. We're going to get started. We have a very detailed program this evening, so we want to get started so I can get you out before those gowns turn to rags and the cars turned into pumpkins. So I talked earlier about how when I looked in the audience, there's a lot of really dedicated volunteers. Well, there's also a lot of people here that are dignitaries and officials. So, okay, they're saying that the sound's too quiet. Can you turn up the sound a little bit back there, please? There's a lot of dignitaries and officials here that I have the privilege of introducing. So when I call your name, I would like the dignitaries to stand up and to give their best royal wave. So let's all practice. Let me see your best royal waves. Everybody, the royal wave, like the Queen, Okay. So when I call your name, you're going to do the royal wave. Now for the audience, I thought maybe in order to speed things up a little bit, we'd do things a little bit differently. So I'm going to be calling names in groups of people. So while I'm calling the group of people, I would like there to be continuous, polite applause so that I can keep reading the names. And then when I get to the end of the group, then I want you to erupt into outrageous, enormous round of applause. So let's practice. Let me hear your polite clapping. And now I read the final name, and then you. Oh, okay, very good. All right, good. All right, that'll work good. Okay, so again, just kind of follow along. So this is the first group I'm going to introduce is our head table. So when I start calling the names, I want to hear the polite applause as I begin. So at our head table here, table number 3, first of all, representing the city of Millbrae, we have our mayor, Ruben Holiber, whose Mayor's Civic Coordinating Council is the co-sponsor of our event tonight. Also with us is field representative, oh no, you have to keep up the polite clapping, remember? From the field representative from the Office of State Assemblyman Kevin Fong. Also here tonight, we have, oh dear, I need to put my glasses on, sorry. Where did I put my glasses? Sorry. Also here with us tonight, we have Assistant Assessor County Clerk Recorder Jim Izazari. Former Millbrae City Treasurer Mary Vella Tressler. President and CEO of the Millbrae Chamber of Commerce and co-sponsor of this event, Lorianne Richardson. From St. Dunstan Parish, Associate Pastor Father Joe Glynn. And of course, my lovely wife, Sherry Teresi. All right. So that's the end of the group. So. All right. From the city of Millbrae City Council, in addition to Mayor Holiber, we have council members Ann Schneider, Wayne Lee, Gina Pappen, and is Annie Oliva still here? She was here earlier. The Millbrae City Council. From the Planning Commission of the City of Millbrae, we have Vice Chair Maureen Davis and Commissioner Kathy Quigg. We have several former mayors here gracing our presence, including Marge Colapietro, Janet Fogarty, Doris Morse, Robert Gottschalk, Dan Quigg, and Mark Hirschman, who presently serves as the district director to State Senator Jerry Hill. From the City of Millbrae staff, we have City Manager Marcia Raines, Police Chief Roger Copeland, Fire Chief John Kameyer, and Office of Emergency Services Coordinator Bill Riley. Also here tonight is San Mateo County Sheriff Carlos Bolaños. And from the Office of San Mateo County Supervisor Dave Pine, Legislative Aide Randy Torrijos. From the San Mateo County Community College Board, Vice President Richard Holiber. And from the Millbrae Elementary School District Board of Trustees, President Frank Barbaro. And Trustees Lynn Ferrario, Don Ravello, Maggie Musa, and Dennis Fema. Oh, Paul Cito. Calvin has mentioned that I forgot Paul Cito, former mayor of Millbrae. And the final group is from the Millbrae Elementary School District. We have Principal Dana Lujan and Chief Business Officer Richard Champion. You did great. That's all the dignitaries. So, Oh, who did I forget? Say again? Commissioner Anders Fung. Oh, and Mary. Oh, one more. Retired retired Deputy Police Chief for the City of San Jose, Adana Amoroso. All right. So, who else did I forget? Yes, I did. I did, yes. Pardon? I did the school board, yeah. Anyone else I forgot, I'm sorry, but you're all wonderful people. Huh? Right, I introduced you, yeah. All right. So now it's time for us to look back in time and honor those former men and women of the year who are here with us tonight. So let me go through the list. These are all people that continue to be wonderful volunteers for the city of Millbrae and are doing great things for all of us. So in chronological order, starting in 1999, Woman of the Year, Mary Vela Tressler. 2001, Woman of the Year, Marge Colapietro. 2002, Woman of the Year, Helen Habib. 2002, Man of the Year, Tom Dottie. 2003, Man of the Year, Kevin O'Connell. 2007, Woman of the Year, Ann Kirkbride. 2008, Woman of the Year, Kathy Quigg. 2010, Woman of the Year, Faye Dottie. And 2010, Man of the Year, Alan Kurth. 2011, Man of the Year, Dan Quigg. 2012, Man of the Year, John Muniz. 2013, Woman of the Year, Janet Fogarty. 2013, Man of the Year, me. 2014, Woman of the Year, Gaetan Andrews. 2014, Man of the Year, Dennis Fema. 2015, Man of the Year, Ron Frediani. 2016, Woman of the Year, Doris Morse. And 2016, Man of the Year, Calvin Chin. What's that? What's that? Oh, you're saying I forgot someone. Yes, well, I did that on purpose. Who could ever forget our wonderful 2004 Millbrae Man of the Year, George Habib? Many of you probably know that George is celebrating a special milestone this year. He's turning 100 years old. So with that, let us sing George, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Woohoo! 100 years old. Or should I say 100 years young? Actually, I learned a new word today, too. George is a centenarian. So he's our favorite centenarian, George Habib. As a token of our continued appreciation, tonight's honorees and the former men and women of the year who I've called out are going to be taking the centerpieces home with them as their gift. So each of the centerpieces has a name associated with it. Please take the centerpiece associated with yourself. And I've been advised to tell you that please do not take the mirrors or the candles because they belong to the country club. And I would also maybe say that since there are several law enforcement officials in the room with us tonight, I would say you probably should try to resist that temptation to put those little sugar packets in your purse, and so just leave those there, okay? All right. Finally, the last group that I would like to introduce is our Man and Woman of the Year Planning Committee. These folks meet all during the year to plan the special event and to solicit the nominations and to judge the nominations and to come up with those who are honoring this evening. So they certainly have done a lot of great work, and they deserve our hearty thanks for all their efforts. So our committee is comprised of the following. Our chairperson is Mary Vella-Tressler. And my fellow members of the committee are Pat Crilly, John Muniz, Kathy Quigg, Dan Quigg, Lorianne Richardson, and Frank Saboti. So once again, thank you all for all your great work and planning this special evening for us all. So now we're going to get moving into some of our speakers, and before we welcome our keynote speaker up to the podium, I would like to introduce Lorianne Richardson, who will in turn introduce our keynote speaker. So Lorianne was born in San Francisco and raised in Millbrae together with her two brothers. She raised her children here in Millbrae and worked as a classroom volunteer and as a member of the Meadows School PTA. She also volunteered at Taylor Middle School and Mills High School. She was co-leader of her daughter's Girl Scout troop and volunteered as team manager of her children's AYSO soccer teams. So she's been a wonderful volunteer. She's worked with the Millbrae community for nearly 16 years, first as a station manager for MCTV, Millbrae Community Television, and then as the executive assistant for the Millbrae Chamber of Commerce for 10 years before assuming the role of president and CEO in 2015. So please, let's give a warm welcome to Lorianne Richardson.
Thank you, Joe. Oh. Can you hear me in the back? Hello? Okay. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. No? Can you turn the mic up? Testing. Good. Okay. So, good evening, everybody. Our keynote speaker this evening is a very accomplished woman. Sharon Chin is a California native and a general assignment reporter who also profiles Jefferson Award winners for KPIX5 Eyewitness News, which she joined in 1997. Ms. Chin has reported on everything from major fires to feature news, politics, and perspective pieces. But she especially enjoys reporting on Jefferson Award winners because those awards recognize community heroes. After graduating from Lowell High School in San Francisco, Ms. Chin accepted an internship with the Asian American Weekly newspaper. She then worked for KTVL-TV in Medford, Oregon, and in 1992, Ms. Chin returned to California to report and anchor weekend news for KSBW-TV in Salinas. She also freelanced as a technology reporter for KICU's Silicon Valley Business Show. Ms. Chin's awards include Reporter of the Year, Best News Writing, Best Investigative Story, and Northern California Emmy Award. Ms. Chin earned her bachelor's degree in political science from UC Berkeley and her master's in journalism from Northwestern University. When she's not bringing us the news, Ms. Chin enjoys family time with her daughter and her husband, who happens to be award-winning meteorologist Lawrence Carno. It's quite a family. Please welcome Sharon Chin from KPIX Channel 5 News.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, you guys can hear me okay? It's a different kind of mic. Am I good? Okay. Well, good evening, everyone, and congratulations to our honorees. thank you for everything that you do. We are so proud of you, and you definitely make our community richer. Look forward to actually meeting some of you. Volunteers are the brightly colored thread woven into our nation's tapestry. You take initiative, bringing your gifts of leadership and vision. You come with humble hearts, adding kindness and compassion. You sacrifice your time and resources. Maybe you step up because something needs to be done and nobody's doing it. Maybe you're passionate about a cause, or maybe you come alongside and serve diligently behind the scenes, even though it seems like nobody's watching. We've seen it over and over, especially in the last week's devastating firestorms in the North Bay. Neighbors who come alongside neighbors to defend their homes or provide an overabundance of food and shelter. Good Samaritans who jump in to help find missing loved ones or save a lost pet, sometimes doing this anonymously. Volunteers are a vital part of our thriving society. And I love that I get to meet people like this. Ordinary people doing extraordinary community service. I get to tell their stories, and I even get paid to do it, covering the Jefferson Awards. And tonight I want to share some of the stories of those Jefferson Award winners that are particularly meaningful to me. Of course, all of our winners are exceptional, but some of them really stand out in my mind. Now, oftentimes, our winners are pioneers who think big and come up with a solution to a problem. I think of 79-year-old Marie Wolbach of Palo Alto. She realized that we needed to get more girls into STEM fields of science, technology, engineering, and math. Now, when she was in high school, she had to fight for the right to get into a physics high school class that was reserved for boys. Eventually, she got in. And as an adult, she became a medical sociologist. But she wanted to find a way to get more girls into STEM fields. So she created something called Tech Trek. It's a one-week camp where middle school girls spend time on a college campus like Stanford. And they learn about STEM careers, they meet role models, and they do really fun, hands-on experiments. And in the end, many do develop an interest in STEM. It's been about 20 years or so now, and she has her program now in several states, which is really exciting. Some of our winners inspire me with their heart of thankfulness. There's Jenny Chia Vang that I met about a year ago. She was an only child. Well, actually, she wasn't only a child. She was only a child when she and her sister fled from the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia. And as she recounted how they escaped, she brought tears to my eyes because she described how they would hide from the soldiers by burying themselves under dead bodies, under piles of dead bodies. And that's how they escaped. Her older sister would forage for food, and she would make sure that the food and the water was safe to eat and drink before she gave it to Jenny. And when Jenny came to the U.S. in the 1980s, it was like she had a whole new life ahead of her, a second chance at life. And so she decided that she would spend her life in the U.S. serving others. And so her service is quite wide-ranging. It kind of blew me away. Okay, she knits and crochets blankets, hats, and scarves, and she donates the proceeds to charity. She gathers people to sing at senior citizen centers. She raises money for AIDS and cancer survivors. She volunteers with her Citizens Police Academy group, not just with the Oakland Police, but apparently the FBI has one as well, which I didn't know before I met her. And when law enforcement agencies have disaster drills, she volunteers to get made up to be one of the victims so that they can be prepared in mass casualty situations. She has this contagious sense of giving, and you can't help but want to volunteer alongside of her because she gives out of such a grateful heart. Now, some of our volunteers are innovative. They think outside of the box. Brian Ware is one of them. Now, he and his family were celebrating his birthday at a restaurant. He and his wife and his kids were sitting there, and they gave the kids, his two sons, boxes of crayons. And he was sitting there thinking, what happens to these crayons after my kids are done with them if we don't take them home? He was shocked. Yeah, he was shocked to find out they throw them away, right? And I guess it's considered unsanitary, a health hazard if you pass the used box to somebody else to use, right? So they throw them away. So he says, hey, what can be done so that these crayons and many others don't end up in the landfill? So he came up with this idea that he was going to collect all these crayons and melt them down according to color and refashion them into other crayons. So he went online and he bought these 2 giant $10,000 crayon molds. And he turned his kitchen, his family kitchen, into a crayon melting and crayon making lab. And he formed a nonprofit called the Crayon Initiative, where he gives these crayons away to hospitals so that kids with cancer and other kids with serious illnesses can create art and feel good about themselves. And I have to laugh because when my photographer and I spent a few hours with him and his family doing these interviews, we walked in and we just had this wall of melted crayon smell. And that didn't disappear until several hours after we left the story. We just smelled crayon all afternoon. But I love this because he thought outside of the crayon box. Another winner with an innovative idea was Catalino Tapia. He was a humble gardener who came to the U.S. from Mexico with a 6th grade education. And he and his wife saved their money to send their sons through college. So he was really proud when his youngest son graduated from UC Berkeley's law school. And he thought, how could I give the gift of a college education to low-income Latino students who otherwise couldn't afford it? He thought outside of the box. And he created a foundation where gardeners like himself would provide college scholarships for low-income students. So he collects the money from his well-to-do clients, from businesses, and from local charities. And he's given away hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarships so that low-income students can receive the gift of a higher education. And I love that the students who received the scholarships have to pay it forward and they have to volunteer. I've also interviewed some volunteers who have turned their tragedy into their life's mission. Lorraine Taylor lost her twin 22-year-old sons to gun violence in Oakland. They were working on their car outside their home when they were gunned down. They were not gang members, they were innocent bystanders. So Lorraine turned her greatest nightmare into her greatest giving project. She started the nonprofit 1,000 Mothers to Prevent Violence. So when someone is killed in senseless violence in her community, she and her volunteers come alongside those who are grieving, and they help survivors with food, with healing, with their compassionate care, with comfort. More recently, I interviewed Debbie Smith, Matt's mom. Her 21-year-old son, Matt, died in a hazing ritual. He was pledging a rogue fraternity at Chico State, and he was forced to do push-ups in raw sewage and down gallons of water while getting blasted with ice-cold water and air as he stood on one foot on a bench. And he died of water intoxication. Now, Debbie shares his story with anyone who will hear so that kids today will understand what hazing is, what it looks like, and how they must say no. Now, in order to communicate how serious hazing is, she's got to retell and relive her story over and over again. And I asked her, how do you do it? It takes such an emotional toll. How do you get through that? She says, if I could just save one life, it's all worth it. Wow. Now, some of our Jefferson Award winners are teenagers who are mature beyond their years, and they come up with these great ideas, which when you hear them, you go, well, I wish I would have thought of that. When Sonali Ranawira was 11 years old, her parents gave her $100 and said, do some good with this. So she thought about it. She said, okay, I'm going to give the money to Smile Train for surgeries for kids with cleft lips and cleft palates. But then she went beyond that. She didn't stop there. She devised a way to keep those donations flowing. So she got her classmates together, and every week after school, they go out with their garbage bags, and they collect all the recyclable bottles and cans, not just from her school, but they'll take any other donations. And they go and cash them in at a recycling center, and the money has paid for at least several dozen surgeries to give kids smiles. And she's still going. That makes me smile, yes. Some of our Jefferson Award winners are just so committed. They have served tirelessly in the same capacity for decades. Ed Regan was almost 90 when I interviewed him 2 years ago, and he had co-founded the St. Vincent de Paul Food Pantry at St. Mary's Church in Walnut Creek back in 1963. He served quietly behind the scenes. In fact, some of the low-income recipients had no idea who he was or that he served there or he had founded the place or co-founded the place. He'd been there 50 years, and it didn't matter that he walked slowly with a cane. He was consistent. He was there every week to serve and to give, and he says it keeps him young. George, you agree? George, 100 years old. Some volunteers I have profiled do not know the words "I can't." They try to do the impossible. This story begins with a couple from Berkeley who adopted a baby girl from China. The Chinese government's one-child policy left countless children in orphanages where they had no stimulation and no love. They were languishing in crib after crib. And this couple from Berkeley adopted one of them. Now, the girl they brought home, though, was emotionally shut down. They said she looked empty in her eyes. But they cared for her, and in her new loving and nurturing environment, she blossomed into a happy and healthy girl. So her mother, Jenny Bowen, decided that if she could provide care for one child, she could do it for many more. And to do that, she would have to transform the system, the entire system in China. She approached the Chinese government, and she did not give up. Jenny Bowen created Half the Sky, a nonprofit, in 1998 to improve the conditions of children living in China's social welfare institutions. Half the Sky, now called One Sky, has trained caregivers, teachers, and foster parents in China, and they have changed the lives of more than 100,000 children in Chinese orphanages, giving them love and nurturing care. And now those efforts are expanding. One Sky is now offering family skills. They are training parents and grandparents so that children left behind in rural villages will grow up in a nurturing home, while their parents migrate to the cities to work. One woman is improving the lives of 23 million Chinese children. Jenny is saving an entire generation of children in China. Who does that? A woman who doesn't take no for an answer. A woman who does believe that one person makes a difference. May that be an encouragement for all of us. You know, Jenny said that it doesn't matter if it's Chinese orphans or what it is. If you see something wrong in the world that needs fixing, you can do something about it. And when you get to know so many wonderful volunteers and you meet them every week as I do, you can't help but bring that spirit of giving into your own life. My husband and I have been very intentional about doing community service that is age appropriate for our young daughter. So we have over the years donated books or bought new ones for libraries. We've organized food bank donation drives. One year we made cute hair clips that we sold and used the money to sponsor an orphan overseas. We prepared hot meals for the homeless. And I guess more recently, my daughter, she baked hundreds of cupcakes and sold them at our church to raise money for a village of orphans in Borneo, Indonesia. Just some of the things that we've done with her to try to instill in her a servant's heart. There's a quote that I like. It's often misattributed to Shakespeare and Picasso. I don't know who the author is. The internet didn't know either. The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. And if you are a volunteer, then you are a treasure to our community. Thank you for your can-do attitude, for taking action, for leading, for fundraising, for sacrificing countless hours of your time and talents. To those who are giving away their gifts, thank you. May you continue to do so with joy. And if you're looking for opportunities, there are a lot out there. Now, let me add, you can nominate your community's unsung heroes for a Bay Area Jefferson Award. The nomination form is online. Here it goes. cbssf.com/hero. cbssf.com/hero. Thank you so much again for the honor of sharing with you tonight.
Sharon, thank you so much for coming this evening. As a token of our appreciation, there's a little gift bag with some information. There's a book about the history of Millbrae and some other postcards and other little flyers that tell a little bit about our community. So thanks for coming to visit with us, and we really appreciate it. Thank you. So on an evening where we start a new tradition of honoring a student of the year, it's very appropriate that I get to introduce our mayor, who's the youngest mayor in the history of our town of Millbrae, Reuben Holober. So let me tell you a little bit about Reuben, for those of you who don't know him as well as some of us do. Reuben was elected to the Millbrae City Council in 2013 and currently serves as our mayor. He has served on the council's Technology Subcommittee and Infrastructure Task Force and as liaison to the Parks and Recreation Commission, the Sister Cities Commission, the Chamber of Commerce, and the MCTV Board of Directors. Reuben represents Millbrae regionally on the Peninsula Traffic Congestion Relief Alliance Board, the San Mateo County Library Joint Powers Authority, and the Caltrain Local Policy Makers Group. Reuben, of course, grew up in Millbrae and attended local public schools, including Mills High School. He served on the Sister Cities Commission and interned for Representative Tom Lantos. Reuben graduated from the University of Washington and earned a master's degree in public policy from UC Berkeley. He currently works as an analyst for the San Francisco Board of Supervisors Budget and Legislative Analyst Office. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium Mayor Reuben Holober.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe, for that introduction and for allowing me the honor of presenting the honorees this evening. Now, the Millbrae is a wonderful community because of our intertwined network of volunteers and the people who put in countless hours to make our community a better place, doing anything that they can. And this event is one of my favorite events in Millbrae each year, because we get the opportunity to honor people who have dedicated many years of service. And as we know, the folks who begin volunteering, they don't get into it for the fame. They certainly don't get into it for the money. But they really get into it because, they see an opportunity to help make their community a better place and to do what they can to accomplish that. And something that resonated with me earlier when Joe listed all of the past honorees who are in attendance tonight, while this is an award for many, many years of service, it's certainly not a capstone. And everyone who has been honored before is still going just as strong as ever, doing everything that they can. So as we honor Dino and Debbie and Pauline tonight, while we look back at everything that they've done, I think it's important to think of tonight not as honoring what they've done, but as a beginning for everything that is yet to come from them. So with that, one of the great things that we do, that MCTV does for this event, is to put together a video for each of the honorees to be able to talk a bit about themselves. So without further ado, we have a video for our Student of the Year, Pauline Yang.
I was born in Mills Peninsula Hospital on March 29, 2000, and I've lived in Millbrae my whole life. What I like most about living in Millbrae is that we're really diverse, and because a lot of our people are open-minded and we have a lot of people who come from different parts of the world, we're able to see things differently. We get a full perspective. My parents are originally from Taiwan. My mom, she volunteered for an organization called Seji, which is around the world, and it's a part of the Asian community. My dad also, he helps people as a living as well. My brother, he really influenced me on the clubs I'm currently doing at school, and my parents, they've always taught me to give back to the community. So because of that, their inspiration has always taught me my morals and how I should be in society and the type of person I want to be when I grow up. A lot of my brother's friends and my older grade friends, they were a part of Interact, and so they sort of became mentors to me, being around those people who were similar and wanted to give back to the community and also have fun. It really kept me in the club and kept me going. Asian American youth, they really bring a vibrant element to the Millbrae community. At Mills, we have the Dragon Team, which performs every year during the Chinese New Year parade. I perform in the parade as a head performer as well. I was the second girl ever on the team to take on the role as head. My greatest accomplishment that I feel like I've achieved is a project that I started myself with 2 other people. It's a virtual reality game that is meant to break the stigma behind mental health. You're gonna be playing as a character named Owen. The player will be able to immerse themselves in his life. They're going to be seeing the different symptoms of schizophrenia that he experiences. We want to normalize these mental health patients as much as possible and show them that they're not so much different from us. They've blended in with society so well that we don't even notice that they have these symptoms or these diseases, which is really incredible. I've always just done the work because I loved it. I didn't think that people would be watching me and seeing that I made an impact to even get nominated for this award. It's great to know that I'm leaving a legacy and that there's gonna be other kids who might even do more than me, and they're gonna be as impactful and even more impactful in this community than I have been. And I do see myself continuing volunteerism when I grow up. It's really inspired me on what I want to do in the future. I'm really invested in psychiatry and biotechnology right now, and I want to give back to the community, and I see myself giving back through the STEM level by seeing the impact you leave after you go to college or you go and develop your own life and come back to your hometown and you see that, oh, the project that you started, it's grown into this big thing that people respect and enjoy. If you want to get involved with your community, just do it. We have a whole bunch of organizations that are available for you. Like if you want to get involved with teaching kids how to code, we have Girls Who Code. If you just want to volunteer, we have both Leo's and Rotary. And if you want to be a part of different schools and just helping out schools, we have the PTO and PTA. So we have different resources available, and it's up to you to take the initiative to do it. Hi everyone. Oh, this looks like it's about to fall. Can you hold this real quick? Thank you. So thank you for coming out tonight. I want to start off with thanking my parents. You guys have done a lot for me, and even though I am hard to deal with sometimes, I really do love you. And next is my brother Nathan, who is currently away at college right now, but I know he's doing great things, and I know he's rooting for me all the way at UCLA, so. Next is my extended family. Austin, Amayai, and Uncle Kim. And to the rest who couldn't come tonight, you've watched me grow into the young one I am today. And I continue to look forward to the holiday family dinners that we have every year. And then next is the faculty at Mills, Ms. Dazinski, Mr. Phillips. You guys definitely have made Mills more memorable for me than I possibly could have imagined. And thank you for always believing me and providing me the support that I need to strive. Next are the organizations I'm a part of: Rotary Interact, Dragon Team, and Mills Thunderbolt. These organizations have taught me how to be a leader and how to use my voice as a power and to influence others. And next is my close friends who I invited tonight, and to the ones that couldn't come out as well. You guys certainly make high school more tolerable for me, and you allow me to vent and to be myself and you guys are there for me when I need someone to listen. So I'm really grateful for you guys in my life. And so yeah, this is sort of like a goodbye speech for me, because in 9 to 10 months, I'm going to be headed to college. And to some of you guys, that might seem like a very long time, but to me, it's really short, because I'm the type of person who likes to know where I'm headed. And the fact that I won't know where I'm going to be at in 9 to 10 months, it really scares me. But despite from being scared, I'm really excited, because it means that I'm going to be starting a new chapter in my life, and it's going to be a new story with new adventures and new experiences in an unknown city for me. So I can't wait to go to college. And to the next kid who's going to get this award next year, I hope you continue to do good, because as youth, it's our job to inspire and to change the world, because it's ours to take. And if you don't see something that you don't like, then fight for what you believe in. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Joe, there you go. Don't be scared. And next, we have a video for the Woman of the Year, Debbie Van Wart.
I was born and raised in Millbrae, been here ever since. I went to all of the Millbrae schools, I think, 4 of the elementary schools. I went to Taylor and Cappuccino. So my mom and dad met each other in Millbrae at the Standard Station on El Camino. And my dad was working there. It was like 1954. My mom drove up to get gas. She was still in high school. The rest is history. I was always interested in giving back, and I was raised that way. My dad was a giving person. He always thought about others first and always wanted to do for others. And I feel like he really influenced me that way. That's who I am as well. Basically, I stayed in the Millbrae area because of my job. I joined United Airlines when I was 20 years old, and I've been there for 39 years now. All through my young life in Millbrae and working for United, I've had opportunities to give back to the community, either through United or on my own. Through United, I have been involved with American Cancer Society, March of Dimes, been part of the Little League teams. I've been a team mom. I used to write articles for the kids so that their names were in the newspapers. I was the advancement chair for Millbrae Troop 355. I was part of the MEF, Millbrae Education Foundation, when it first started. And that was really heartwarming to see how we can build the schools up. At that time, Hank was in Taylor, and Taylor was really struggling. That was a really tough time for the music department to survive, so I was really proud of that. As far as my volunteering part of contributions, out of all of the things that I've done for the community, whether it be local or on a corporate level, I have to say that in 2011, when I joined the Millbrae Community Foundation, that has turned into be my biggest contribution to the local community especially. The board of directors are fantastic. It's been a joy to work with all of them, and it's been such an amazing and an awesome experience to affect so many people in the community and so many organizations in the community. my greatest accomplishment has been my family. I have been so blessed with building a wonderful life with Dave and Hank. We've done a lot of traveling, we're very close. It's just been a really blessed event in my life and something that I've always dreamed of. The first step to becoming involved in a community organization is to ask, is to find your passion, find something that you want to influence in a positive way. One thing that I have done recently is I've followed in my dad's footsteps. He was volunteering as a retiree for the Millbrae Arts Commission before they moved away. And now I have volunteered to be on the Millbrae Arts Advisory Committee. It was just an interest of mine, and I enjoy doing it, and I think of him every time I go to a meeting. So to reach out to a passion of yours or something that interests you, something you want to maybe change, and volunteer your time. It's very worthwhile. I just am so blessed and thankful and full of gratitude for this life. There have been hard times. Everybody has them, but this part of my life has really been a joy. My family was just reminding me not to fall on the way up. Thank you so much, Mayor Holliber, for that warm introduction, and for Joe, thank you so much. Thank you to the Mayor's Civic Coordinating Council and Chamber of Commerce for honoring me with this awesome award. I am truly, truly humbled by this experience. Congratulations to Dino and Pauline for their amazing recognition awards. And I'd like to specifically recognize the Millbrae Community Foundation for the nomination of this incredible civic honor. Thank you. I know that you're scattered in different places, so thank you so much. My family is everything to me. This is both my genetic family and my non-genetic members as well. They mean everything to me. And so let me please introduce my family to you. Got my husband, David Van Wart. Most of you know David. Our son, Hank, just flew down today from Eugene, Oregon to join us. I've got Dolly and Bob Keefe, who have known me since I was 10, and they're my stand-in parents tonight. And I've got my newfound family member, Randy, who I just met tonight. My cousin, Andrea, who is actually my sister from another mother, because we're connected at the hip, and thank you for coming, Andrea. And my sister friend, Eldine Carlson, she's known me since I was 2. And another family member who I'm just very grateful who has come to join us. So I didn't realize how much my speech was going to be repetitive of my video because I had forgotten to look at it. But I was born and raised in Millbrae. I'm a homegrown girl. And my dad had moved out from Villisca, Iowa in his early 20s to chase the California dream with a couple of buddies of his. My mom had relocated to Millbrae as a young girl with her parents and her sister. They lived on Court Komoda out in Bayside Manor for a number of years. And they moved out from Midway, Pennsylvania. So both of my parents were from the Midwest. In '53, my parents met at the Standard gas station in Millbrae, and my mom was still in Cappuccino High, but she drove up in a big hot rod, and my dad went, woo, and I think she was like 17, and when she found out he was 21, she told him that she was 18. So they courted, and she graduated, and he found out that she was not as old as she was. And they married in 1956, and 11 months later, voila, here I was. Growing up with my cousins and my aunt and uncle and our Nana in Millbrae was a great childhood experience. We lived a few blocks from each other up in the Meadows neighborhood, And we all met at Nana's house every Wednesday night for a big family dinner. She was a great cook and a great baker from a little town in Belgium. My school days were spent in most of the Millbrae schools, as I had told you before. Meadows, Green Hills, went to Highlands for a bit while Millbrae School was being finished up on the hill. And then went to Taylor and Cappuccino, and my mom had gone to both Taylor and Cappuccino as well. So I thought that was kind of a great following. Since I was a little girl and throughout my adulthood, I've always wanted to help people. That's just who I am. The inspiration came from my dad as well as our Nana, and I'm really proud of that. I enjoyed volunteering at our home church, where Dave and I got married. And at one point, I was leading the nurturing team when I met a really lovely lady named Kay Runkle. Kay became my friend and mentor. We did a lot together. One day, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. One day, I was over at her condo in Millbrae, and she stopped in the hallway to show me a portrait of herself in her hallway. And she was so proud of this portrait because it was from when she was the Woman of the Year. And she turned around to me, and this was one of the times that she said this to me. She says, "Debbie, you should be Woman of the Year one day." So I was shocked and encouraged by her confidence in me, and now I'm proud to be following in her footsteps. Kay truly does deserve that applause. Thank you for remembering her. Marrying Dave and becoming Hank's mom are my greatest blessings. Being Hank's mom opened up a lot of doors for me in the volunteer world in Millbrae and beyond. Places like Club Happy Hall, I worked with Marina and her caring team. At Meadows School for class projects and field trips. Little League Baseball. At Taylor School's music program with Mr. McGaw, when we took the band to a music competition in Southern California and to Disneyland. With Pack 355 Cub Scouts, I always loved that Pinewood Derby. And for Troop 355 Boy Scouts, when I was their advancement chair, and I had the great privilege of working directly with the scouts and their parents. I'm very proud to mention that our son Hank earned his Eagle Scout rank with Troop 355. He's going to kill me for that one later. I also had the chance to volunteer for the Millbrae Education Foundation, which is especially meaningful to me at that time and even now, because their efforts saved Mr. McGaw's teaching position and ultimately the music program at Taylor, which was really important to us. So applause to MEF. Some of my greatest volunteer memories was at Mills High School. Hank went there for 4 years, and I just jumped right in. And one of the activities that I jumped into was with the Drama Guild. And we called ourselves the Drama Mamas and the Drama Papas because we produced, and put together and worked alongside of the teachers who put together the plays and the musicals. So during Hank's 4 years at high school and 8 performances, the Drama Mamas and Papas were really busy. So we had a ball there. And also the music parent group at Mills High School. I was the treasurer to support Mr. Miner and the band students, and that was a lot of fun. And Dave and I helped plan and chaperone more than 100 teenagers that went to Disneyland. This was the band kids. We took them twice, so, and we are still standing. It was a great feat and a lot of fun. You know, there was also a lot of great volunteer opportunities at United Airlines, as I had said in my video, and I've just celebrated my 39 years, and I hope to make a few more. We'll see. Among them, American Cancer Society Daffodil Days, I ran that campaign for over 20 years until they didn't have Daffodil Days anymore. And that was so meaningful to me. I lost a lot of friends and family to cancer, so it was my way to give back. Just recently, I joined a group of volunteers, employee volunteers. We are collecting donations for a United We Care fund. And this will help our fellow employees who were affected by the hurricane or the floods or the earthquake, and most recently, the terrible fires. It will help them to get back on their feet. It's been the last 6 years with the Millbrae Community Foundation that has been so gratifying to me. By directly making a positive difference in the lives of so many local people and organizations. In 2017 alone, we've answered 7 grants from various community organizations. This includes a matching grant of $20,000 from the MCF directly towards the refurbishment and replacement of the Millbrae Community Center. Thank you. And the first $20,000 came from our community members and our donors, and we want to thank you for that too. So the extra bonus for me to be with the MCF has been to work alongside of the amazing board of directors. I've been learning from them, benefiting from their ideas, their strategy, their giving nature, and I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. A special friend of mine and a mentor of mine, who happens to be a friend to most of you, shared a thought with me, and he said how important it is to recognize the power of one to make a positive difference in the lives of so many people. And he reminded me that each of us is that one. I love my hometown of Millbrae, and I look forward to seeing you all around town. And I'm going to spend the next many, many years to spend time and the energy to help make Millbrae the very best it can be. Thank you again for this amazing honor. Congratulations. Very nice. Thank you.
Congratulations. And next we have the introduction video for Dino de Ranieri.
I was born in San Francisco, California. My parents were immigrants from the Tuscany region of Italy. When he came over, 1920, my dad worked as a carpenter and my mom worked as a homemaker. We were in the Italian area, so all these Italians, even though we didn't practice volunteerism like it is known today. In a way, they all volunteered to help each other. And so whether it was pressing the wine or going to the country to get vegetables or fruit, they all helped each other out. We've been here in Millbrae for almost 50 years to the date. After 7 years working in San Francisco as a pharmacist, I got the opportunity to come here to Walgreens in Millbrae. Now, while I was a pharmacist, I developed a drug abuse education program that I presented to parochial schools in San Mateo and San Francisco County. It became recognized by the American Pharmaceutical Association, and for that I was awarded the Community Award for Public Education. I always had an affinity, let's say, for volunteerism and for disaster preparedness in some way or another. I've been an active member of the Millbrae Amateur Radio Club for 30 years, and then in 2007 we actually began the CERT program, and I am assigned to volunteer CERT coordinator. Over the past 10 years, we have probably trained close to 200 individuals. What keeps me going, I think, is the fact that there is always something new coming along. So I'm consistently learning. It's an enjoyment to see individuals coming together, learning these tasks, and hoping that there will be some legacy after this. I think it's important for folks to get involved because, to begin with, it's giving back. It's giving back to the community itself. You can give back knowledge, you can give back in the form of service, your time. I think that everyone has something to give. I think that a volunteer can help and inspire others. And that's is so important.
Thank you, Ruben and Joe. Good evening, distinguished guests, family, friends, and all of my colleagues here this evening from the Millbrae Community Emergency Response Team, otherwise known as CERT. Now, wow, this is a big night for me as I stand before you to accept the award for the 2017 Millbrae Man of the Year. I am honored and truly overwhelmed and grateful. And to be honest, I never paid much attention to this award and was a little quite shocked to receive a telephone call from Mary Vella Tressler telling me that I told her that I had received the Man of the Year award, and I recall telling her that I really didn't want to be Man of the Year. And she sternly and firmly said, "Hey, too bad. You are our Man of the Year award." And you know, I hadn't heard that kind of tough talk since I was a kid in school. And I knew I wouldn't win the argument, so I decided best to reply with a simple, "Thank you, Mary." Thank you, Mary. And I want to thank all the persons who nominated me for this award, the judges who selected me. I also thank the members of the Mayor's Civic Coordinating Council, who throughout the past 45 years have given us this most prestigious community event of the year. The Millbrae Chamber of Commerce, members, and the other donors who have supported this wonderful event. I also see the crew from Millbrae Community Television. It's here to record this evening for broadcasting and historical purposes, and if you don't know, we'll all be on YouTube in a couple of weeks. I also wish to recognize Tom Dowdy and many others who contributed to making this honor and this evening very special for me and for my family. To each and all of you that have taken the time to come out this evening, a lot of valuable time for our great community celebration, it truly means a lot to me and to the family. I extend my congratulations to our Woman of the Year, Debbie. You have been a beacon of volunteerism in our community. Keep up your outstanding spirit and dedication. And also I would like to congratulate the Student of the Year, Pauline Yang. You too have done a lot of volunteering in your young life, and I hope that you will stay connected with Millbrae as you move forward. My wife of 54 years, Gabriella, is unable to join us this evening. We have 3 children, Dean, Gina, and Dana. Unfortunately, our son, Dean, passed 3 years ago. I hope that the good Lord will let him share in this evening from above, because he always loved a great party. And this time, I would like to introduce you to our family. First of all, our daughter-in-law, Dino de Ranieri. Granddaughters Gina, Bianca, Karina, and grandson Dino William. Our daughter Gina Wiebe, her husband Richard Wiebe, and our grandson Brian Wiebe, who's also and also our daughter Dana de Ranieri, our granddaughter Aubriana, and Dana's friend Kenneth Evans. I thank each of you for being here to celebrate this honor. Having you here truly completes our celebration. Now, throughout my career and community service, I was fortunate enough to participate in a diverse set of volunteer services. And you can sort of read that in the program. I'm going to focus on the ones that have benefited our entire community of almost 23,000 people the most. I would like to just start off by, we all seem to have a mentor around, you know. And so, but one of my, this mentor and friend who I met 35 years ago while attending classes for my FCC amateur radio license. And that mentor and friend turns out to be former Police Sergeant Ron Kane. At that time, Ron Kane encouraged me to join the then Millbrae Police-sponsored Millbrae Amateur Radio Club. This was the beginning of my volunteering for the city's emergency volunteer services programs. It was 10 years ago that Ron Kane again, thank you, Ron, along with the former Millbrae Fire Captain John Murphy, encouraged me to take on the Millbrae Fire-sponsored LEND Radio Communication Volunteer Program. With the great help of some of the Millbrae Amateur Radio Club members, MARC for short, Sergeant Ron Kane, then Councilwoman and current Millbrae Mayor Emeritus Marge Colapietro, Joe Teresi, Gene Kirkbridge, and John Muniz, the LEND program, and also I don't want to forget retired Hillsborough Deputy Fire Chief Joe Quat and others, the LEND program took off. Today, the LEND radio program has 64 team members spread throughout Millbrae who can radio report directly to the city's Emergency Operations Center, EOC, regarding the status of conditions in our neighborhoods when and if there is an emergency disaster occurring. The positive response to the LEND program by our volunteers in Millbrae convinced former Millbrae Fire Chief Dennis Haig that a community response team program could be put in place. And so in 2008, our first class graduated 22 Millbrae CERT team members, all from Millbrae. Today we have trained at least 200 individuals living in Millbrae and up and down the peninsula. We have 168 Millbrae CERT team members on our roll, 74 of whom are classified as sworn disaster service workers. And we encourage all of you who have not, that have not taken the CCFD Millbrae emergency course classes to sign up for the classes that will be beginning January 18th, 2018. You can look for information on the city website, MCTV, and also we have flyers at the Millbrae Library. We still need to grow our resident participation. I am honored tonight as the 2017 Millbrae Man of the Year, and if it's not for all the mentors, the program supporters, and the overwhelming generosity of all the Millbrae Emergency Preparedness Program volunteers, I would not be here for the Man of the Year. So will everyone in this room, mentors, CERT, LEND, Mark, San Mateo County Sheriff Volunteers and Policing, Oxcon Sheriff individuals, Central County Fire Department, city and county personnel, and those I have, and if I've missed those, who have contributed and helped to make our Millbrae Community Emergency Program a great success, please stand. Please stand. Okay? And if you don't stand, I'll call you out, and then you'll have to stand. Please, everyone stand. No, stand. Give yourself an applause. Great. Bay Area agencies look to Millbrae as a model, and we happily share and take pride in doing so. There is no doubt it is because of all of you folks that I am being honored tonight. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I proudly share this honor with you. And in closing, I leave you with a thought. A life is about its events. It's about challenges met and overcome or not. It's about success and failures, but more than all of these put together, it's about how we touch and are touched by the people we meet. It's all about the people. The people in our life make me what I am. So says four-star General and former Secretary of State Colin Powell. Again, thank you, one and all. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Thanks for the job, Dino.
Okay, we're going to call up Debbie and Pauline up to the stage again. There's more gala ahead here. So, in the interest of time, I'm going to ask all the various representatives to make their comments brief. But for each of our honorees, we have various commendations and awards from the various governmental agencies in the area. So we're going to start by by calling up a representative from the Millbrae Elementary School District to give the commendation to our honorees. Looks like Frank Barbaro is going to come up and do that. Huh? You want to hand him to Frank or something? I don't know. Is Frank? Are you getting lost, Frank? Just kind of. It's kind of a maze here. Just kind of. Yeah, you're. Millbrae Elementary School District President Frank Barbaro.
Good evening. What an honor it is to be here tonight to honor volunteerism. I mean, that's what Millbrae is all about. You know, I represent the school district, and as we say, it takes a whole village to raise one child. And this is testimony this evening. So this is for commendation for Debbie Van Wart, Millbrae Woman of the Year. Debbie Van Wart, who has served as a chair on the Millbrae Community Foundation beginning in 2011, as a board member, secretary, vice chair, and chairman of the board. Her service includes volunteerism in support of the Millbrae Education Foundation, fundraiser lead for the rehabilitation of the Millbrae Community Youth Center, organizing the Holiday Tree Star Ornament Program, in-kind donation of science materials and technology to our local schools. And whereas Debbie has worked with MCTV as a volunteer to help create the very successful video, to interview long Millbrae residents, to create our Millbrae oral history. And whereas Debbie's volunteerism with Millbrae's Boy Scout Troop 355, leading, managing, and reviewing the tracking of each member's advancement progress and reporting to the National Council Office. And as whereas Debbie has acted as coordinator of Daffodil Days, fundraiser for over 10 years, coordinating many volunteers as the United Airlines San Francisco maintenance base. And whereas she has volunteered her service in our local schools at Mills Drama Guide, Taylor Mills School Music Foundation, and Mills Grad Night events. And whereas Debbie has volunteered her service in our local schools at Mills Drama Guide, Taylor Mills Music Foundation, and Mills Grad Night. I read that already. It's actually duplicated on this. And Debbie has served on the United Airlines Employer Family Day Team Committee and participated in Dress for Success for Impact. Therefore, the Millbrae School Board of Trustees and Superintendent express their deepest appreciation and gratitude to Debbie Von Wart for exceptional volunteerism in helping the youth and community at large in Millbrae. Debbie, congratulations.
I'm sorry, Frank. I'm gonna have to give you the hook here a little bit. We have lots of. I'm afraid we're not going to be able to read all these out loud, but so I would be honored if you would just present the certificates to the other two honorees. And
that was a long list of accomplishments. That was a long list of accomplishments. This is for Dino Ranieri, Millbrae Man of the Year. Dino, I congratulate you on behalf of the Millbrae School District. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well,
Very good. All right, and last but not least, our Millbrae Student of the Year. This is fantastic that we actually honor a volunteer student. This is really great. And Pauline Yang, I congratulate you on behalf of the Millbrae School District for all your volunteerism. Okay? Thank you. Thank you very much.
thank you, Frank. Next on deck, we have Randy Torrijos, who's going to present something from the County Board of Supervisors. And following him, you might be able to get ready, is Kevin Fong. He'll be next, Kevin. There's Randy. Did you find him? I can hold him for you if you want. You got it? Okay, there you go.
So Debbie, before I came here tonight, I already knew what an impressive community volunteer you were, but I was lucky enough to sit with you and your family, and I've learned what a wonderful person you are and what a special group of family and friends you have. So that makes it even more of an honor for me to present this to you on behalf of Supervisor Dave Pine and the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors. Congratulations.
Join our table anytime.
And Dino, so in addition to having the pleasure of presenting these, I actually write these, and I have to admit I had trouble with yours because I couldn't actually fit everything on the long list of things they gave me. So I apologize, it's not all in here, but for everything that is listed here and for much more, congratulations and thank you from the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you for doing a good job. And, Mr. Pine.
Thank you. And Pauline, so when I've come to these things in the past, I've looked at the list of accomplishments and thought to myself, well, you know, maybe one day I can accomplish as much as these people have, but you already have a way more of a head start that I'll ever catch up on, so I know I'll never catch up, and that actually goes for Drew, too. I don't know if he's in the audience still. But congratulations on everything you've done and everything we know you will do. The community is very proud of you. So on behalf of the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors, congratulations.
Thank you, Randy. Kevin Fong is going to come up now and make some presentations from our two state legislators, Assemblyman Mullen and State Senator Hill. Oh, and Mark Hirschman is going to join him.
Well, thank you. In the interest of time, I just wanted to say, on behalf of Assembly Member Kevin Mullen and Senator Hill, we'd like to present this California resolution to Debbie Van Wart for her years of community service to the Millbrae. On behalf of Assemblymember Mullen and Senator Jerry Hill, I would like to present this resolution to Dino for your years of service.
And Pauline, go Vikings. It is, as the mayor said, this is one of the great evenings on the peninsula every year to celebrate. But as we all enjoyed from Drew and salad to steak and salmon, and Debbie and Dino and Pauline, congratulations! What great accomplishments, and we look forward to much more from you. Congratulations. Well,
All right. I guess I'll just do these myself. We have Debbie, we have certificates here from Congresswoman Jackie Spear and Senator Dianne Feinstein and Senator Kamala Harris. I'm just a hack here. I'm not Dino, similarly, from all our federal representatives.
Thank you, Kurt. Thank you.
And Pauline, straight from Washington to you. There you go. Nice. Okay, Ruben, I'll let you do the last one. The last one is from the city of Millbrae. So here's Debbie's.
All right, so on behalf of the City of Millbrae and the City Council, I have one here for Debbie Van Wart. Congratulations, Debbie. And I hope you have a place to put all the stuff.
We need to add on.
Okay. And for everything that's been said, I don't know what else I have to add, but here you go, Dino. Congratulations. And I know you need some stuff to put up in your dorm room next year. So here you go, Pauline. Yeah. I'm sure you'll be the only student of, well, maybe not the only, but one of the only student of the years in your dorm.
One more
All right.
for John.
Ruben, you're so sweet.
Oh, of course.
Did you get married?
I did, yes.
I didn't know.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you for all the gifts.
Thank you, Ruben. Who says government can't get things done, right? Look at all that paper they got produced there. Wonderful. All well-deserved. All right, just to wrap up, I'd just like to thank all of you again for coming tonight, being part of this wonderful community event. It's a time when we can share our love for Millbrae and for all the wonderful people that make it up. As you leave this evening, I encourage you to think about what you heard tonight, what you read in the program, what you saw in the videos, and what you heard from their heartfelt comments about volunteering. And I hope that all of you will continue to do all the volunteering that all of you do, and to keep making that a part of your life. Again, this one more thunderous round of applause for our awardees, Dino de Ranieri, Debbie Van Wart, and Pauline Yang. A few final thank yous to those who helped make the night possible. Thank you to Nancy Montez for the wonderful centerpieces that grace each of the tables. To Robert Gottschalk, who is a member of the country club, and it is through him that we're able to use this nice facility, and we appreciate that very much. Cheers out to Aaron and Patrick James and Rupert from MCTV, who are making this part of their video history. For those of you who want to relive this event one more time, in a couple days you'll be able to tune in to MCTV, Millbrae Community Television, or go online to mctv.tv, and you can see yourselves on the silver screen. Thank you to the Green Hills Country Club for the wonderful meal and the wonderful venue. We appreciate that, as always. And with that, I will say good night for now. Drive safely and keep volunteering. Good night.
You're watching MCTV, Millbrae Community Television.